Hello everyone. Today I'm going to explain how we are going to create dependent drop-down in Angular material, and also we can communicate and fetch data from the Spring Boot applications. So for creating the application actually means what basically we're going to do means we'll create some like drop-down, like dependent drop-down. For example, the state is based on the country, right? So country, state and city drop-down selections based, like it's all are the dependent, right? Because city is dependent on the state, state dependent on the country. So those selection how we are going to develop using the Angular with backend application. So why the backend application need over here? So the backend application need for fetching the country, state and the city list. So first of all we need to fetch the country, and based on the country selection, so then we need to select the based on the country ID, based on the we can select the state, and then after that we can select the city based on the state selection. So for that in a backend like in a MySQL, I will create three tables for that. One is the country, state and the city, and then accordingly we'll populate some data over there, and then we will I will show you the demo like how the selection is working. So for that basically uh, we need to follow some predefined steps. Like first of all we need to create one Angular applications. It will be a material kind of design, and then we will like design the page with these three combo box, three drop down selection, and then we will write one service over here so that we can communicate with the Spring Boot applications, and then we will communicate based on the communication we will fetch data and populate the data into the drop down, and then we can like select those data. Based on the selection it will populate the next dependent drop down details. So without delay let's get started with this one. So first of all we need to create one project. So for project creations as we know, like we can create the project like ng then new and then the project name. So based on that like we can create the project over here. So I've already like created using this command like ng then new and then project name. So whatever the project name it is, so accordingly using this we can create the Angular project. So once we create the Angular project, then it will create something like this structure. It is already predefined structure that actually followed by the Angular. So this is actually already like it's created by when we'll create any project over there. So this is the structure like source, inside the source, then app, then over here like CSS, HTML, spec, and then TS file, config routes, all those things. Okay, so these are already like created using this one. So now basically as we are going to use the material kind of design over here, so for that we need to use one Angular material module. So how we are going to add this one? So for that we need to use one command. This is the ng module, ng and then add. We need to add this material design over here into our existing project. So that's why we need to use this one like material design over here. So for that we need to use this command ng add and then @angular / material. So this material, for using the material kind of design we need to use this component into our existing project. So once we click on the enter, then it will do the necessary things for like downloading all the related package and all those things. So it will doing all the things internally, and it will add all the details into our existing project. It will update all the things. Would you like to proceed? Like it will ask some questions like how we are going to install this one. Would you like to proceed? So yes. Then it will ask like what kind of theme we are going to use over there, so that they will going to ask us. So based on the selection it will generate all the things. It will take some time for installing all the packages. Once it will done, then it will give the confirmation like we have successfully installed these applications successfully install the component over here. So let's wait for some times. Like it will asking this kind of what kind of theme actually basically we are going to use. Either these are the like already existing or other else, so we can already we can use our custom one. So let's use the existing one, and then global. Yes, we are going to use the global include and enable elements. Yes, so it will update the package.json, package.log.json with that config also this one. So these are the basically they are going to uh, like uh, update all the things package. As you can see over here, the package installed successfully, and also with that it's updated the following this the like existing packages like style css angular.json. So if we see over here, so these are the like added by this one in the index. These are also like this all updated, and then also like angular.json over here they are also like updated this one. Okay, so once we have updated this one, then it will like you can say it's uh, like kind of we are able to successfully add those things. Now basically we are going to restructure our design. So for that basically we are going to create some modules over here for using the material kind of thing. So let's say like we are going to create another module which will basically related to the material modules. So let's say create one over here like Angular material module, and here basically we are going to create one constant over here, let's say, and then it will include some module over here. Let's say these are the things, and then basically we need to create one ng module component things. We need to import all the things. Let's say quick fix, and then we need to import. Why it is not taking? Let me check. So before that also we need to use the like ng module annotations over here. Okay, and then we need to like use the export, and for example the name is Angular material module, so that we can define over here. Okay, and inside of this we can use some kind of we can use the imports like common module comma this constant actually material modules. Okay, comma and exports. What we are going to export so from over here? Material this module. Okay, okay, now here basically we are going to import all those things. Mat input okay, why it is not taking the things over here? Let me check why it is not taking. Okay, let me import all the input manually, because obviously I'm going to use those things. So let me import all the things manually over here, and then we can like use those things, all the like material related modules. Okay, ng module also imported is done. Okay, so now that means we are able to successfully import all the things over here. Next basically we are going to use some kind of routing kind of thing. So instead of using this one, so let me create another file. Okay, so this one basically that routing module basically we are going to use it over here. And next basically in the we are going to create another class like app.module.ts. So over here we can create new file, app.module dot ts. So now once it is created, then we can add the all the module related things over here. We need to use these are the things here. The name is the app module. So as I have import all the dependent, so there is one pending that I'm going to import over here. If it is not taking, then I need to add it as a manually. So let me add this one. Yeah. So now we have successfully created this app.module.ts. So we are not going to use this one, and also we don't need this route file. Okay, let's clean up all those things. And in the app.component.ts file, for the time being it is fine now, but we are going to create something over here, all the related method, which are basically we are going to use in the for selecting the uh, combo box or drop down box. So that basically services we are going to write over here. So for that we are going to implement the onIt method over here, like this app component. So once we init is implemented, then we need to also we need to implement all the things from the onIt, this one. Okay, now here basically we are going to uh, create all the things over here. Let me do it slowly. Like we need to create some variables over here, first of all the drop down, and then countries, state and cities, all those variables over here. So let me create all the things over here, like public loading equals to false. Okay, then public drop down form, this equals to form group. Next we can use country and all the things, like countries any, it will be an array, and then we can define as a blank array. Similar kind of thing we can do for the state and city. Okay, countries, states, cities, CITI. Yes. Okay, so this is done now. Next we are going to create one constructor for injecting all the dependencies over here, constructor. And here basically we are going to use private drop down service. Actually we are going to create another service over here, so let me create the service, drop down service we are going to create inside of the service class. So let me create those things. It's generated now inside of over here. So drop down service is now, so drop down service, okay, comma, private form builder, okay. So once this is done now, next once this is done, so this is our empty constructor basically, so we can keep uh, over here also. Okay, next inside of this ng on it, we are going to use the something like this dot drop down form equals to this dot form builder dot, means we need to group all the things over here. Okay, like country equals to, we need to set as null, and then state as null, then city. Okay, next From over here basically we are going to call the countries, like get country. We need to create one method over here which will basically fetch all the like details from uh, like what we can say from the database. So get countries we need to call over here. Okay, so first of all we need to set loading as true until or unless the data is not fetched. Then from the drop down service basically over here, uh, that service we have created newly, here basically we are going to create all the like methods over here. So for that also we are going to create actually one environment kind of thing, so that we can put all the URL related things over there like in the environments. So let me create the environment file first. Then we can keep like constant related things over there. It is not needed, I can delete it. And then here we can create, instead of that we can create this constant and we can put the URL. Okay, and here in the countries actually what drop down service we need to like provide the, let me create this one. Environment is done now. In the service, this is the base URL. Okay, we can delete this one. Okay, as HTTP client we are going to use for calling the like services from the Spring Boot application. So for that we need to use this HTTP client. Okay, next we are going to create one like class which will no, so not the class, actually basically we are going to create this method so that it will fetch the country from the database. This is the base URL and then get countries. Similar kind of fashions we are going to call the get state. Let me show you how you are going to, this is the get state and this is the actually API name, and based on the country ID, this ID basically we are going to pass over here so that it will fetch the country detail, state details based on this country. And next we are going to create another method which will basically responsible to fetch the cities details from the database. So for that what we need the state ID, and as you can see the API name is a get city by state ID, and here basically we are going to pass the state ID. So based on that, it will do on these three operation: get countries, get state based on the ID, country ID, and get cities based on the state ID. So these are the operations we are going to done over here. So now in the app component file, so here this dot drop down service dot get countries. So this method basically we are going to call dot subscribe, and here once we get the response, then we can like either log the response and then we can assigning the data over here. Okay, we can log this response and then accordingly we can set the response over here, and then we can set this dot loading equals to false. Okay, then is once the data loading is done, then we can set the loading is done, so we are setting the variable as false. In case of any error, then we are going to like throw some exceptions, so something like that. In case of any error, so that also exception we are going to handle over here. Okay, and we are going to like log something went wrong, and also we can print the error. Okay, so this is done for the get countries. In similar kind of thing we are going to select the like now once, so this is actually basically fetch the countries, so this is the default behavior. So how this method basically getting called, so from the ng init basically here we are going to call this service, this dot get countries. So this is the default one, means while the form is getting load, then we are going to call this get countries method. Okay, so once this get countries basically is getting called, next what we are going to do, we are going to select the data from the country drop down table, drop down selection, right? So once we change the value, then based on that, that means we are selecting some countries data. So once we select the countries data, then basically what it will do, it will basically like call the call the basically what it will empty the other two details like state and city, and then it will call the state based on the state ID, and then it will accordingly it will select the uh, like state basically, right? Means it will fetch the data state, and then it will set the data in the state drop down. So for that we are going to create one method over here, select country. Okay, so first of all, if it will take as a country as a input. Okay, so if country means like if not valid actually, so that's why we're putting the if over here. Okay, then from the control level, like drop down control level, so over here we're going to set this value as empty, and state and cities will be, because we are selecting something over here, right? So if nothing is value is over there, okay, that means this is not valid, then only we are cleaning all the details from over here. If it is a valid selection, then first of all we are going to set the loading as true, right? And next we are going to parsing this country as percent, because this is the country ID. Okay, next, because based on this ID actually we are going to call the get state, this dot get this dot drop down service dot get states, right? And here we are going to pass this country ID dot subscribe. Okay, once we will get the response from this particular service, then here we are going to assign this dot states equals to this particular response, and also we can set this dot loading equals to false. Okay, so this is done now. In the error section also, in the error, for error we are defining the syntax something like this. In case of error, here we are log something the above one, like something went wrong or the error. Okay, so this is for the select country. The same things, once the state is select is done, then we are going to write the similar kind of logic, only instead of the country ID, in this case we are going to get the state ID, right? So let me copy paste the above one just with a small modification. Okay, similar kind of, only instead of the country ID we are getting the state ID, and in case of the state selection only it will empty the cities and then return from over here if it is a invalid, right? So this is the kind of method structure for this one. Okay, next we are going to create the HTML file for that. So once the HTML file creation is done, then we are going to run the application and we will start the application so that you can see like how the it will look like. Okay, so for HTML basically we are going to, as we are going to use the material kind of design, so over here, okay, let me run once so that so for running the application we can use the ng-sub. It will build the application and check everything is working fine or not. So let me like run once so that it will build the project and run, and it will start the application in localhost 4200 port. This is the default port that is used by the Angular. So that actually we are going to use over here. Okay, we are getting some issues over here in the main.ts file. So here in main.ts file, where it is main.ts file, yeah. Actually, we are not going to use in this one, so we need to update this main.ts file. So let me update this one. So instead of let me delete this. Instead of this, basically we are going to use the platform, this dynamic dot bootstrap module, and here basically we are going to pass this app module that we are used over here. Okay, and then here dot catch, we need to, in case of any exception, then it will, like, we can put some error over here, this one, this, and console dot error, and then error means we need to print this variable. Okay, this basically we are going to use over here. Now let me save this one. Now what it is saying, app.module.ts is not module, app.module.ts. Okay, we need to import this one. Yes, as you can see over here, as it is showing like it's a standalone, so we need to remove this property from over here, and also this outlet. Okay, so if we remove this one, let's say try to run this one. Okay, let me rerun. Okay, clear these things, and let's try with this one. It should work. Yeah, build is done now. As you can see over here, it's loaded, and as you can see over here, all the things are fine. It's showing this connection issue. That's fine because we have not like started any Spring Boot application, so that's why it's showing. But the Angular application is started now, right? Okay, so next, like we need to uh, develop the HTML for kind of designing all the things for. Let me clear this HTML page. This was the like created by default. So now as we are going to create this one, so first of all we need to create the progress bar. So that's why it's having a progress bar. Then the mode is mode equals to in indeterminate. Color is maybe we can ascend, and then if loading is true, then only we can choose this one, right? If loading is true, that definition we have set over here, this variable. So if this is only available, means it's true, then only it will show this progress bar. Next we can create one div, like so that we need to also define some kind of class level over here, like this div, and class is container. Next we can create another div. These are the obviously basically those are just to like kind of design perspective. You guys can create add your own. Then we can create the like uh, another div which is basically contain the card body and all those things. This is the body of the card, and then next this is the div, and after that we can provide some header like dependent drop down selection kind of header we can give over here. That's basically inside of this one. Here also we can see the card title and all those things over here. So after the header we can create the form. So now this form basically content three sections. One is the like country, another one is uh, like one is country, another one is state, and another one is city. So for that we need to create the sections, and then from here we can create another div, and then we can defining the like div layer over here. So let me create the complete div for the state country. So material form field, first we need to define over here, then what is the level of it is, then the country details like the selection drop down, and here the option like first this is the value and this is the key. How it is coming, this key, like it's actually written as the countries, and from the countries we need to set the value as country as a id and then country dot name, and as a display it will display this country dot name. So this, in this way basically we are going to uh, defining all the things over here. In similar fashion we can define the state, and then after that here this is the state, and similar, once we change the value then it will call the select country, and this method basically defined over here like this one, select country. So in similar fashion, once we select the state then change the state, then it will call the select state, and similar for the like city. So this is done now, and as you can see build is done now, and here it will, yeah, you can see as there is a node data because we have not still created the project for this like uh, Spring Boot applications, so that it will call those methods from over here. So that actually you need to call like this get country is basically it will called, and this will call this get country API from the Spring Boot application. So that we have not created yet. So that actually are going to create. But meantime we can create, just add one CSS so that it will look okay. Like here we can put some this example code margin is 0 and this auto. And in the style CSS we can put some kind of body details, that HTML and body. So those are the CSS we can put over here in the style.css. Yeah. So this is done. Now you can see it's come over here. So next basically, so that means from the Angular perspective we have done all the things, like we have created the, what we did first of all, we have created the project using the ng-new, then we have installed the Angular material library into our existing project, then we have configure all the material modules into our existing thing, then created services, configure all the URLs, created all the methods in which just selection of each drop down what service it will call. So all the details we have created over here, and finally we have created also the like this HTML file. Now basically time to for create the Spring Boot project, which will basically we can create, there is a three APIs. One is in the service section you can say, like one is a get country, get state by country ID, get city by state ID. These three API we are going to create into the Spring Boot application, so that we will start the application and it will we can call it from the successfully from the Angular section. So that means end-to-end integration is also done, and we can also like able to select the data from over here. Right, means instead means selection of this one we can select the state, and instead of selection it will filter out the all the data from over here. So this is the basically few things that we are going to do now. Like from the Angular perspective we have completed all the things. Now the next part is to create the Spring Boot project and create the develop all those 3D REST APIs, so that we can call all the APIs from this over in the Angular portion. So let's create the Spring Boot project first. Okay, so before creating any Spring Boot project, first of all, what we need to create? We need to create one database schema. Like as I'm using the MySQL, so in a MySQL I've already created one schema, and over there I need to create the three tables. One is the countries, state, and the city. Also, I have created those three cities in this way, like countries, state, and city. And as you can see, I have populated all the data over here, like in the countries, all the country list, in the state based on the country. These are the ID, name, country ID, and country code. And in the city also you can get all the details like ID, name, state ID, country ID, all the details over here. So those data I have populated, I have created the script and inserted data over here first of all we need to create this table, and then we need to like insert the data over here. So in a MySQL, in this schema, I have created this three table and accordingly also push the data over here. Okay, so in the next, what we need to do, we need to create one Spring Boot applications. As you can see over here, I have already created this Spring Boot applications. And if we only explore the dependencies that for connecting with the MySQL and fetch the data from this MySQL database as a Spring Boot project, what kind of dependencies we are going to use over here. So first of all, we need to use this Spring Boot Starter Web, as we are going to create some REST APIs over here. So due to this, we need to use these dependencies because this contains all the related dependent file and jars for this one. Okay. Next, this is the one another important, the starter data JPA, as we are going to connecting with the database and we are going to perform some kind of database related thing. So that's why this dependencies is needed. Okay. And as a database, we are going to use the MySQL. So that's why MySQL dependencies we have to use. Like, so MySQL connector J, these dependencies basically that is the reason that we are used. And other these are the like Lombok just to use for avoiding the like getter and setter. Instead of that we can directly use the annotation. So this is the purpose for this one. Now next part is to we are going to create one one API, REST APIs over here, one controller, and then we are going to create those three APIs. Okay, so let me create one package over here, dot, and then you can say controller. Okay, now we can create one controller over here. For example, drop-down controller, drop-down controller. Okay, as it is a controller, REST controller, so that's why we need to annotate this particular class with the REST controller. Yeah, this one. And next, basically, we are going to create three APIs. For that, we are going to create the three APIs over here. One is the get country. Okay, it's a get mapping. And then we need to create actually like three details over here. One is country, state, and city. Okay, so that details we are going to create over here. So as you can see over here, this country having this this is the entity name. As you can see over here, these are the basically mapping with the uh, database. Like in database, if you see over here, country, if we select this country, so it's having the ID and name, ID and name. So this is the ID and the name. Okay, similar for this one also, state. Here basically ID, this is the table ID. If we select the data from the state, so ID, then name, country ID, country code, ID, name, country ID, and country code. Okay, and then the last one is city. So city also having this ID, name, and the state ID. So these are the mapping that we have defined over here. Now in the controller, basically it's a get country, so obviously we need to return something over here. The next will be get state by country ID. Okay, get state by country ID. So for that basically we need one parameter like request param. In this way, like country underscore ID, this param will come from the Angular and it will return the state list. So how it will return the state list? It will return the state list based on the country ID. And the next and last one is the it will return the city, all the city based on the ID. Okay, so you need to add some return statement over here also. Now we need to create the repository which will basically create means communicate with the database. So for that we need to create another package, repository. Okay, so first of all we need to create three interface over here. One is for like country repository. Okay, and it will implements or extends basically JPA repository. Okay, and here you can set the table name country, this one, and ID is long. Okay, so this is the done now. Next we need to create another repository, new interface, state repository. Okay, again it will extend JPA repository. It will be a state, and it will be a long. Okay, and in the state repository basically we need to fetch data based on the country ID. So for that we need to use this SQL, use this define by country ID, find by country ID. So it will fetch data based on the country ID. Next, another interface we need to create over here. It will be a city repository, and it will extend JPA repository. Here city and then ID is long. Okay, and similar in the city repository also we need to create method which will basically fetch the data based on the state ID. Okay, so based on the state ID it will fetch the data. Now the repository creation is done, and also we have write the method by which we can fetch the data from the database. Now we can create one service basically. Let me create another package, service, and it will drop down service, for example, drop down service, and it we can annotate with at the rate service. Okay, here we can create like methods which will basically fetch the data based on the like inputs. So first of all we can say get country, public void get country. Okay, and here we can use this country repository. We need to auto-wire those things. Okay, and based on this repository find all, it will return all the country return. So here we can return this one. Okay, next we can create another method which will basically get state by country ID. That method we can create over here, and we can put the long ID. We can use this long country ID. Okay, and here we can use the state repository, auto-wire private state repository, find by country ID, and here we need to pass this country ID. Okay, it will return instead of country, it will be state. And next another method we need to create which will basically get city by state ID, and instead of that it will be a state ID, and here we can use the auto-word private city repository, okay, find by state ID. So instead of this, we need to use this one. So what we did over here, okay, we need to, instead of this, we need to return list of city. Okay, so what we have done over here, we have created one service and we fetch all the details from the three tables, right? Like from the country. So from the country, basically we need all the data, and from the state table we need fetch only those data match with the particular country ID. Like select star from state table where country ID is equal to this, and similar fashion we need to fetch the data from the city, but it will be based on the state ID. Okay, it will be based on the state ID. State ID, and here it will be state ID. So find by, so select star from city table where ID state ID is equal to this, and for the country it will be a select star from country. Now we need to, as we are connecting from the like with the MySQL, so we need to define some kind of like URLs, what kind of database we are going to use. So those kind of things we need to uh, details we need to provide into the application.properties. As you can see over here, the driver class is the MySQL CJ driver. This is the database URL, and this is the schema name. This is the localhost 3306. This is the MySQL is running in this port, and this is the username and password. Okay, it will be different for in your case. As I'm in the Hikari data source pool, and this is the MySQL dialect, and this is the use for like source SQL, means while we are fetching the data or something, any operations we are doing, so those kind of logs like SQL logs will be printed into the console over here. So when I will start the application, so it will started the printing the logs over here. So due to this property like source SQL true, that means it will say print the sequels. Like suppose we are calling the get country, so for get country, whatever the SQL internally Hibernate is used, so for that SQL particularly, it will print inside of the year in the console. Like select star from country. I will show you. I will show you when I will call this particular get country, get state. So it will print the details SQL inside of the console. So I'll show you like how it will look like. Okay. So now we are done. The create service creation is done. Repository is done. Next, what we are going to create? We are going to like mapping this particular service like AutoWare private drop-down service, and then based on the service basically we are going to call the respective method like get country. Okay, then it will return the state, get state by country ID, right? And the last one is get city by state ID. Okay, city by state ID. Okay, so that means applications wise is done now. Next, what we can do, we can start this application, and then we can call it from the uh, like uh, let me run this one. Once it is start, then we can call this particular application from the Angular. Okay, we can directly call this service localhost 880 get country localhost 880, then this API name and this API name. As you can see, application is getting started now, and so that we can directly start from the service. So let's check from over here. Now if we restart this one, just refreshing. Okay, 404 country get country is getting failed. Get country localhost 880 is get country, why localhost 880. Okay, maybe 404 get country. Let me rerun this application. Okay, now what it is saying, get country getting 404. Okay, let me check from the postman. Let me refresh this one as Maven project. Let me update this project so that maybe it will clean all the things, and because I don't see any issues in the configurations, so maybe there is something for cleaning the things. Okay, once it is started, then we can check again. Looks like started now, so let me check then. Yeah, it's working, right? It's working. Now maybe we can check from the over here. Let me refresh it. Okay, now what it is coming, it's a CORS error. Okay, CORS error means this one. Okay, so as you know, like because it's a one domain, and from the one domain we are like calling this domain, so that's why it's getting the CORS error. So so to solve this one, CORS origin, there is one annotations, and here basically we need to pass this like from where this call is coming. So this is the one of the options to solve this CORS error. There are multiple way to resolve this. So for the time being, not 8080, 4200, because the request is coming from this 4200. Let me save this one and also clear out the consoles. Okay, now let's try. Okay, what it is saying again? Okay, let me check again. It should work. Okay, let me try it in different way. Like we can put these things in here directly. Let me see if it is working or not. Okay, let me restart this one. Get country course policy. Okay, app component. Connection refused. Okay, understood. Okay, there is actually one. I have just changed the port 8081, so that's why it's not able to access from the 880. Let me delete this one. Okay, now let's try. Yeah, now as you can see, it's getting the 200, and also in a response you can see we are getting the response in this way, right? So from here we can now like choose like for example India, and then it will say okay, what it is saying, fail to response header. Okay, so the reason is we need to allow this course origin for all the APIs. So let's as a header level. Okay, so because we have provided for the course things only for the country, but for the rest two APIs over there, we have not added this course, so that's why it's not able to access. So as we have put it this one as a class level, so that's why now all the APIs will be accessed. Okay, now let's try. Let me rerun. Okay, let's select India. Yeah, now you can see the state, all the state come over here, right? Goa, Orissa, Rajasthan, Uttarakhand, this one. Now if we choose the state, then we can choose the like city. So as you can see over here, if we choose the whatever the country like Hungary, then related the state over here, right? And then accordingly city if not over here, then it will not come. If city is available, then it will get the, we can get the city. Let me try with some another state. As you can see, all the things are coming, right? Okay, India, then maybe Maharashtra, then we can check like Pune or something. Pune. So that means now we can easily mm, like we can choose all those things, and also we are getting the response. Now here you can see like I have like there is a one properties over the Hibernate properties so SQL. So when we actually get country is getting called, then it will actually select this select actually statement is basically executed into the, based on this it fetches the data. If it's a like state SQL, then as you can see for this from state and where country ID is equal to this one, right? If it is a city, then this particular thing is working, this particular SQL, where a state ID, based on the state ID, it fetches the data from the cities. So this is a use of this particular thing, like in a properties file, this show SQL true. So due to this, it's actually show the SQL into the console. These are the SQL list. Okay. So this is the basically things that how we can like design the dependent drop down and all those things. So just to summarize what we did in this tutorial, first of all, we have created one Angular project. Then we have added the material design module into our existing Angular project. Then we have created the service. Then we have write all the related methods for fetching the details, fetching the data from the any application, Spring Boot applications. We have configured all those things, and then we have like created the HTML pages from where these things actually appear. This page actually appear. So here basically we have created the three drop down boxes. One is for country, one for the state, and another one for the city. So based on this, basically we have created from the Angular part as part of the backend applications, which is basically responsible to fetch the data from the database and to like return to the any third party applications which are responsible to integrate these APIs. So for that we have created one applications into the backend, like in a Spring Boot applications. So here we have used the Spring Boot data JPA. With that also we have used the MySQL. So we have provided all the MySQL related information into the properties file, and we have created the controller, we have created the service, we have created three entities. One is the for the country, state, and the city, and we created one controller and created one service which is basically fetch the data from the database based on the conditions. And with that also another one more informations, like in a table, database table, we have created three tables: countries, state, and the city. And also like we have put it all the data like into the state, city, and the country table. So then it will like fetch the data from the database, and we are like display all the data into the Angular page. So this is the overall thing for like how we are going to create the dependent drop down boxes into using Angular, and we can fetch the data from the database as a from the services how we are going to create. So this is overall things If you guys have anything, please do let me know in the comment sections. Don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.